How am I? I'm not crying. There's no drool coming out, right? No, well, a little babbling. No tears yet. Also, no tears, period. You see, I've been doing this Flosstube videos, just starting off, and then I was trying this project of dyeing my own fibers, and yeah, it went great. It went great. There's no complaints whatsoever. However, my computer is complaining, and the storage is full on my computer, so this video that was supposed to just be like one whole long video, upload it, move on with your life. I've got to breathe. Instead, it's become, well, it was three, because I went ahead and I was so excited today. I got this third one finished, which was one, but I've had to divide it up in order to have enough storage on my computer to be able to upload these to YouTube. And then it got uploaded and I was all excited. I was like, oh, this is only taking me a whole week to do what should have taken like a couple of hours. And people started commenting. No sound, can't hear you. So, yeah, the video transferred, but no sound. And then it went back into my computer to the program, and like 3/4 of it was deleted. And then what was left, yeah, no sound, and no record. So, I'm trying this again because I said I'm determined. And I'm angry. I'm really, really, really angry, which is why I have on my little comfy sweater, because I need some comfort, and I don't have any chocolate, which is really sad. So I'm just gonna go munch a Pop-Tart in a minute and hug a kitten, and I'm gonna break this last video up into 2 parts. So this part will be with marigolds, and then I'm gonna try to keep that, instead of an hour, it'll be like a half hour. And so because it's shorter, then maybe it'll upload with sound, because it does help. Kind of. And we'll see if this works. And so 1 has become 3, has become 4. So wish me luck. I'm gonna take a couple of deep breaths. Woosah. And let's hope that the video will come up right now. Years before we bought our current home, we were living in a tiny little cottage on somebody else's property, so I couldn't do any gardening or grow flowers or anything like that. However, it was always a bucket list wish that I do so. So I bought this wonderful book, A Garden to Die For, and it's by, who's this by? Chris McLaughlin. Chris is a genius. It has wonderful tips about how to do the dye process, mostly for plant fibers, although it talks about animal fibers too. For those that don't know, it is a different dye process. I mean, you just put it in the pot and you add color, but it's a different kind of color that you use one over the other. And so, like, I have lots of wool locks, and I use a whole different type of dye than I do for the natural plant fibers. Ada is cotton, 100% cotton. If I use other blends, it's going to do it a little bit differently, and you have to kind of experiment. I have no idea how to use natural fibers for this process. But before the frost hit last night and killed off the rest of my garden, last week I went and gathered up a giant bowl full of gorgeous marigolds. I used orange and burgundy bicolor, and then I used these gorgeous fuchsia dahlias, and I have this little container kind of like this, but they're much richer, much deeper purple color. And then I used the green from the plant itself. We took off all the petals, and then the greens that were left of the plant stem, I used that to dye as well. So each one became its own little experiment. And I used this handy dandy book to dye it. You can see I even have little bookmarks up here for my pages. The wonderful thing is telling you how to do different types of mordants and how to fix the colors exactly and clean the fibers. And then they have a lot of very specific directions in this book for the most common kind of plants, like marigolds right there. So it told me exactly what to do in the book with my marigolds, and they even had dahlias, which is exciting. And the greens of the plants, they told me all of this. However, the results that they got in this book is a little bit different than I got. And the dahlias they used, I think, red and orange and yellow. I used those purple, and it was a shock. The difference that using that color made came up with completely unexpected results. So I will tell you, our yard has been a labor of love. The bucket list for having my own property someday, and we don't have a lot. We have maybe a quarter of an acre back there, maybe a third, is that I wanted to have a butterfly garden someday, and I did that this year. Including, we had about 30 monarch caterpillars hatch. And a wonderful surprise is I don't cut the flowers in my backyard. I just let them grow. So zinnias that were only supposed to grow 2 feet tall grew about 6 feet tall, because we just let them keep growing so that they could be food for butterflies and bees and the birds and other beneficial insects. And it turned out so well that we discovered this fall that we were on the migration route for a whole bunch of monarchs. So every couple of days, we would get another 10 to 20 monarchs swoop into the garden, take a little break, get some food, get some water, and then flutter on their way. And a day or two later, another migratory group would come through. So that was an exciting thing. I did not know that that was going to happen, and it made all of the hard work worth it, because this yard had a crumbling retaining wall and broken water pipes. The whole yard had to be literally bulldozed to the ground. Giant tree roots took up 2 giant dump trucks. Yeah, filled it. They had to take that away. Tons of glass and broken concrete, and then a fence put up, and then all the pipes put back in. So it's been a lot. And then we got that far, and then it just overgrew with weeds because we were too exhausted to do anything else. Finally, I got it all cleaned up. I got it landscaped this year. And it was a starter, just kind of experimenting where plants could go and what's going to grow best in what area. We had tons of vegetables. We had like 5 of every kind of herb you could possibly imagine. I had an entire small hillside just in a couple different kinds of milkweed, which was wonderful to grow my caterpillars. And then flowers and flowers and flowers galore. It was wonderful. But another phase of my bucket list for my yard, beside the butterfly garden and a vegetable garden, I want to have a dyer's garden. So things like the marigolds and the dahlias and the zinnias and all sorts of other plants, to be able to take those and to use them to dye my wool and to dye the lovely fabrics for cloth for cross stitch or punch needle or anything else. I'm always up to something. So I think next year we're going to grow indigo, because I love that deep blue color. It's one of my favorite colors in the world. I want to grow madder, which gives you a really gorgeous, lush, very rich red. And then we'll see what else we can get into. If that is something that you would like updates on, I'm more than happy to do that in some of the videos. Like, we don't necessarily have to do whole videos of that, but to do kind of, bi-weekly updates on the garden when it's in season. Right now, the frost just finished killing everything in the backyard, and I was gonna clean it all up, and I'm not now because there are so many seed heads still left on all those flowers. I'm gonna leave it for the birds. this winter, and they do like to get into my little zinnia jungle, so do the cats, and kind of hide in there and get the seeds and other little insects. So I'm going to leave it up so that they'll have a place to go all winter. And I think it'll be nice. It's kind of nice to see all the birds flying back there. And so next spring, I will start giving you updates, even when I start getting my seed catalogs in. And you can grow with me. And a friend goes, "You are such a good gardener," and I'm not. I don't really like gardening. I like art, and I like things of beauty, and I like making things. And so the garden's just another part of the artistic life to make things. And so I'll share that with you. Just comment below if a dyer's garden and a butterfly garden and all that is something that you would like to see updates on. I'd love to add it. But for now, I'm going to start off with Marigold so you can see the results of the last of my harvest and what happened. Okay, pumpkins, so I'm going to try the natural dyeing with flowers from the yard, and I went to local Walmart and got these 3 pieces of Ada, so 14 into 18 counts, and I'm going to dye them separate colors. The 14 counts are really a large piece, so I'll cut that in half. I'm hoping to have 4 different shades by the time I'm done. We'll see. We'll see if I have anything other than mud color. Who knows? But I'm going to go open these up, and according to the new directions I'm working with, from a book called A Garden to Die For by Chris McLaughlin, I'm going to take these out and weigh them. I'm doing a type of mordant bath, and I'll explain more about that in just a bit. But in order to get started, I have to know the weight. I'm going to weigh all 3 of these together because they're all going into a wash mordant bath at once. And so let's get started. Okay, so I have a giant stock pot that I only use for dyeing of water, and it's heated up. The book says to get the sizing out and any other contaminants from your fabric. I don't know how important this is, really, but I'm just going to follow what the book says. I usually just wash it in hot water, rinse it out, but we're going to try a formal cleaning method to see if it just helps get the colors that I'm dyeing any brighter. It says to add a teaspoon of washing soda, and this is, you can find this in the laundry aisle by Arm & Hammer, super washing soda. So I'm going to try it. I've just dumped it in. It looks a little cloudy there. Okay, so I'm just using my tongs to stir this up. Shake it off a little bit. Sorry for the noise. And I've gone ahead and I've sewn the edges of my cloth because I really hate it when it separates and all. You have all of those strings tangle up, and I really don't want all the strings. Now this water has been heated. It's not really boiling. It's bubbled a little bit, but then I turned it back. So it's really hot water. And it says, the directions say to put this in here. I'm kind of putting in, 1 piece at a time just to keep it loose. I'm gonna use my tongs there. And I have a couple more pieces. I don't even remember. I started out with 3 large pieces, but I definitely cut them to make smaller pieces. And this is also good to really thoroughly get the fibers soaked to dye later. So there we go. So now it's all in there. It's kind of, little steam coming off. You can see there's my fibers. Now you do a little bit different type of bath when you're doing this with wool, which I've done that before. Just doing these is new to me. So it says once you get it in there and it's all nice and hot, to leave it to simmer for 2 hours, and it will break down any sizing, basically anything that's in this material. And then I'll rinse it out with hot water till all the soap bubbles are gone. So we are going to let that sit for a couple of hours and we'll see how it goes. So this simmered for about 2 hours. This is my fiber. It's all of the Ada that I'm going to be dyeing soon. And I'm just going to drain these pieces out. And this is a lot of water. This is a huge stock pot. If I just try to lift this whole thing up into a strainer, I'm going to I'm gonna keel over. I'm gonna have a lot of problems. So I am just letting this drip dry for a little bit and putting it into this little strainer. There's another pot under it to catch it, and I'll take it over and rinse everything out. And then in a little while, I will get my hubby to dump the rest of this water, and it gives it time to cool down a little bit. I started out with 4 large pieces, and I cut them up just because I know I have a whole bunch of smaller projects, and that's it. So I'm gonna rinse these out, and I don't even know, I wonder if that even got the Ada even softer sitting there. Maybe a little bit all that time. And so I'll make sure that all the soap is out, and then it'll be ready for the mordant and then dyeing soon. Take a look. See those gorgeous hues? That is a vat full of marigolds. I took off all of the petals and separated them from their green bases. Sorry, there's a lot of steam. And those are all the petals, but I want you to look down here. I'm not sure if you can see it in the water because of the steam. The water's actually gold, which is what I'm going to use for the dyeing. In a second, I'm going to take all of the flowers and put them through a strainer so I can remove the petals, and then it'll just leave the water, and I'll use that to dye the cloth. Now, my Ada cloth has been in a separate pot, a mordant pot. Now, the mordant is alum and cream of tartar. There's 153 grams of fiber in here, and according to the book, A Garden to Die For, it's kind of, with cotton, a 20% ratio of alum. So I had 153 little over grams of Ada cloth, all the different pieces in there, the weight of them. And so I added, it was, I can't see my book, a little over 30, I think 30.6, something like that, grams of alum. And you can find alum in the spice aisle. It looks like cream of tartar, but it's kind of like a sugary looking substance, very crystallized. And then I added 5% ratio of cream of tartar, so that was just under 8 grams. And I do have a little scale to measure foods and things on in the kitchen. So with that, I put them in, let them dissolve, and this pot has been sitting here for an hour, simmering, just like the pot of marigolds has been sitting here. Well, I was going to say an hour, it's probably been about an hour and a half, which is okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain this, and then I'm going to take 1 or 2 of the pieces straight from the mordant bath and put it into here. And if you're asking what the heck's a mordant bath, supposedly, I'll find out, the alum and the cream of tartar not only helps kind of as a fixative for the color, just like salt and vinegar works, you can use that too. But the author says that it gives a really bright, clear types of colors if you use the alum and cream of tartar. So I thought, okay, we're going to try it. So here we go. I'm going to go over here and strain my little flowers, and then we'll see what kind of color I have. Stay tuned. I have poured the marigolds into my sieve right here. These were orange and a few little like bicolor orange and a little bit of burgundy marigolds. So you can see all of the petals. Now, I didn't pour the liquid down the drain because, of course, that's going to be the dye bath below. So I put it in a double pot here to let everything drain, and I brought it over here to the sunshine so you could see. I'm just kind of getting off the rest of the color, shaking it out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to just set this aside, and I want you to look at the color. Do you see the color? This deep orange? That's incredible. That is from a giant bowl full of marigold, orange marigold flowers. Look at the color of that. How stunning. Now I really can't wait to see how this is going to look. So I'm going to take this, pour it back into my large pot, and then add the fabric and let it simmer. So let's go get the fabric. We are back over here by the stove. You can see the orange liquid. That is the color that's been drained out from the marigolds. It is starting to steam again, so I'm going to bring this back to a simmer. But while I'm waiting for it, the cloth pieces, which has been in this little mordant bath over here, I'm going to use my tongs because, yeah, it's really hot. Whoa, look at that, soak it up. Look at that. It's already turning yellow. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna put this first one in. Yeah, I gotta do another one. Let's go do another one. We'll do a couple small ones. There's another one. Because although these are orange marigolds, I think this is really going to turn out to be not orange. I think it's going to be a gold. Oh, look at the yellow. Wow. How cool is that? It said, the book said, to leave this simmering for about a half an hour. So I'm going to do just that. I think this would be really pretty for some spring colors. Maybe some Easter cross stitches, some flowers on there. Okay, can I just say, I'm too excited. Holy Kazinga Batman. Already. That's just the coolest thing. That is such a bright yellow. We're going to experiment. I have this other bowl right here that I'd emptied the dye bath into. I'm going to take one of these out because this color, this stunning yellow gold made from the orange marigold, I'm in love. I'm going to sit that here for just a minute, let that kind of cool down. The stainless steel bowl is nice because it's already cool, and that'll help cool it down so I can touch it and rinse it. I'm going to still leave this one for a half hour. I'm curious to see how much darker this will get. We're going to leave it. Might even do another little experiment with it. So we'll come back in a half hour and see how that turned out. That first piece of Ada was, once it was rinsed, and I'll show you in a little bit, it was a lot like, well, this piece here. It's like highlighter yellow. I don't need a lot of highlighter yellow pieces, although that's very, very cool. But we're going to try an experiment, because why not? I'm going to put that over there for a second. Oops, sorry. In my pot. There's still a lot of yellow left in the pot. The book said to possibly make it a more orangey hue, use a little super washing soda. Thank you, Arm & Hammer. And use a teaspoon of it and put that in the pot. Oh, did you see? It's like all dark in there. Whoa. I'm just going to use my little teaspoon. It said it'll make it more orangey. Whoa. Whoa. This went from yellow to this deep dark orange. Whoa. Okay, why couldn't chemistry class be like this? I would have done so much better. Okay, so I'm going to just take... I'm dying to see how this turns out. Here's my bright yellow, okay? This is made from orange marigolds. I'm going to put it back in my dye bath of orange marigold water and a teaspoon of alum. And I'm just going to let... Ooh. Okay, already, can you see the difference? It's going orange! Oh, I don't know if I can let you see in the light. I want orange. Woo! Woo! Get in. Get back in there. Look how orange. The whole dye bath is gone. Whoa! Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to keep moving my camera around. It's hard. It's still kind of looking yellow on the camera. But in real life, that's a pumpkin orange. It has turned... Wow. Okay. You know, I'm flipping out right now. This is the coolest process, y'all. I don't know, maybe I can get it into the light more. Different angle. Yeah, see, my camera is just moving it back and forth, but I'll let it go. Maybe if I let it go a little bit longer, you'll be able to see it better. In real life, this is now a pumpkin orange. Holy cow. Holy cow, holy Kazinga Batman. Yeah, it doesn't take much to make me giddy stupid happy, and I am right now. Over. This is precisely what I want for Halloween colors of cross stitch. I know we're almost done the Halloween season here, but it's always Halloween at my house. So I'm going to let this go a little longer. And then I'm going to come back, and I might even try dyeing another piece. And I have some muslin, because it might be cool to make some muslin bags out of some dyed fabric too. And we'll see how this goes. Oh my god, I'm so excited! So when I first put the alum in, it turned orange. Now that it has been simmering for almost a half an hour, it's become a really deep gold. So of course, I can't stop there. I'm going to add another teaspoon of alum and see if the dye bath, which is really funny, it looks orange already, and yet I got this deep gold color. We're going to see if it goes even a darker orange. It's like magic. I just realized I said I was going to add a teaspoon of alum. Correction. I had added washing soda. So I'm going to add another teaspoon of washing soda to the Marigold pot. I just love how it goes in dark and it makes this like color change. All right, I'm going to stir this up. Whoa. Look at the colors as I just swish it. I gotta tell you, I am so excited about this. I feel like a proper witch. Look how gold that is. Do you see that? It's orange in the pot. But you lift it. It's kind of incredible. Now, that's pretty hot. I am going to add a third piece for my little mordant bath here. I think. I don't want... Okay, wait, that's too big. I know for the yellows, I just don't want these to be huge right now. I would if it was orange. Okay. That's another small piece. So this is 2 teaspoons of washing soda. And that's already gone gold. As a personal preference, I definitely think in the future I will continue to add the washing soda because I prefer more of a deeper, richer gold than highlighter. And that would actually, a rich autumn gold is perfect for fall cross stitches. Not that I have one yet picked out for this, but now I have an excuse to go buy some. Never a bad thing. You know, buying colored fabric is really expensive because there are a lot of talented people out there who take a lot of time. This has not been a fast process. So you're paying not just for the cross-stitch piece, you're paying for the time. But I can't afford to buy all that I want to buy as far as colored fabrics go because, thank you Flosstubers, I'm really into using colored fabric now for cross-stitch pieces. Buying simple, more inexpensive white pieces of cloth, like a white 18 count Aida, which a small piece was like under $3, and then dyeing it myself with things just found in my garden, or even a bottle if you did use RIT dye, because that will last you forever for small pieces of cloth. You know, that saves a lot of money if you're willing to go for it and just do it. So I'm going to let this sit now. I put in another piece. This has 2 teaspoons of washing soda. Got to get that right. I'm going to let it sit for about a half hour to see how dark I can get it, how rich the color. And then we'll come back and pull it out and see what happens. I don't know how much more I'm going to get after that because you can exhaust a dye bath. It's when all the color's been taken up. So at the end of this, I'm going to put in some muslin just to use to make something out of later, just to soak up the rest of the dye. And then we're going to try some other colors of flowers that I have. I've pulled out the piece of cloth that I had in the marigold, the orange marigold water, and I had added 2 teaspoons of the washing soda to it. I can tell that the dye bath is starting to fade, that it's starting to get all the color absorbed, because whereas I thought this was going to go orange, it's actually now maybe a shade lighter than when I had only added a teaspoon of washing soda. So I think that's because the dye is getting used up from the flower petals. So the next time I try this, and I actually do have some more marigold flowers, I'm going to add the washing soda straight from the beginning so that maybe I'll get orange from the beginning. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put in some muslin, use up a little bit more of the color, and then I'm going to save whatever color is left, and maybe I can mix it with some of the other dye bath water that's left over later today. We'll see. I went ahead and dyed a piece of muslin, which I discovered does not like this dye bath. It barely did anything to the color. But I'm going to save the dye water for later. It looks like honey, even though we got bright yellow out of it. Let me see if I can take it down to the sunshine. Let me see a little bit more. It's kind of hard to see on my camera. Oh, there we go. Look at that. It's like honey. So we're going to try to let this sit. I've been told, hi Simon, that's Simon, that we can do this like a solar dye, that I could put cloth in here later and put it out in the sun and let the heat from the sun dye it. So we might try that. I have 2 jars of this. So one I'm going to use for an experiment with some other colors. And then this jar I'll use to tea dye something later. On to the next bunch. So what did you think of the marigold experiment? I thought it was really cool. And it's odd how something so orange and almost burgundy on some of the flowers could come up with something so yellow. This was the first one. After I washed these, they did get a little bit lighter. Of course, it changed again. But still, the very first one is still, it's very highlighter Easter egg yellow. Like egg yolk yellow. Really, really bright. The second one that I left in for an extra half hour's worth of time, after it was washed, it's still a brighter yellow, but it's definitely a richer gold. Adding the washing soda, the orange shade washed out, just rinsed right out, but it did leave it a little bit nicer, richer gold than the first one. You can see the difference, how much brighter that one is. I like the softer shade. And then the third one was when the dye bath was almost used up, so it didn't have as much dye left in it. It was a little bit exhausted, but it's still nice. It's just a little bit lighter shade of gold. So I definitely like the washing soda in it because it made it a little bit more of a gold shade. Sad it didn't stay orange, but you know, now I've learned. I like the golds better than the highlighter yellow, but it's still pretty. I mentioned that I dyed the muslin, tried to see if I could dye what was left. Muslin, dude, it did not like these dyes. It didn't even want to soak in at all, and it made it half a shade darker. You can't even tell. It's like ivory. That dye just did not want to take it. When I rinsed it, it was like, psh, gone. But that's okay. Before we move on, I want to show you what happened with those giant purple dahlias that were so extraordinary and that gave you the greatest surprise. When my husband was here earlier in the video, Jack, and we mentioned what happens when we let the cats in the room and they love to get into the wool, I have to show you this. So Monster was helping me a few minutes ago. Now, let's see. We can look behind me. Do you see anything unusual back here? Nothing. Nothing. Where could it be? Monster, where are you? There you are. This is what happens when we're not paying attention. Somebody finds a bed.
in my nice soft... Oh, alpaca. Monster, you have really good taste. You are messing up my alpaca, buddy. Good thing you're cute. But yeah, Monster has really good taste and fiber. Yeah, buddy. So, today's choice is alpaca. Don't get used to it. Just because you're cute doesn't mean you're staying forever. Alright, let's get on with the Dahlia video. And maybe I can take a moment to get him out. Good night, Monster.
Okay, y'all. You've hung in there with me thus far. 3 videos on this. So we're going to try one more video, and the next one will be the video with dahlias, which I really had some freaky surprises using those to dye with. And hopefully you'll be able to see that in just a little bit today and hear it as well. Hopefully no more sound problems. So wish me luck. Fingers crossed. Number 4 coming to you soon. Bye, pumpkins.